Recently I made a video in which a person said this comment here. Basically, they hate that they have to lie in interviews just in order to make a living. And while I think in interviewing you do show some things in a more positive light, and you're not the most honest version of yourself because you want to interview well, there are things you should never lie about. In this video, I'm going to tell you from a recruiter's perspective 3 things that you should never lie about in an interview. Let's go. But before we get into the video, do me a favor and hit that like button. It's free, it tells YouTube I don't suck, and it motivates me to make more videos like this. And if you are already willing to do that, hit that subscribe button. That way you never miss one of my 3 free weekly videos, all designed to help you nail your next interview and maximize your career. The first thing that you should never lie about in an interview is places you have worked or your dates of employment. You never want to do that because those are things they can actually find out and find out pretty easily. They can find out during a reference check. They can find out during a backdoor reference check. If you don't know what that is, I will tee it up at the end of the video. But if they find out those things, the best thing that can happen is a lack of trust. They will now view you as someone who has lied to them. And that's not a great way to start off your new career. The worst thing that can happen is they can rescind the offer. If they find out you were lying about a time you worked at a company or that you even worked at a company, that can be horrible for you. They can take back the offer, you will lose out on an opportunity, and if you've already given your 2 weeks notice of where you're currently working, that can be an absolute disaster. So never lie about that. The next thing you never want to lie about is references. Never give fake references for an interview. Now, a lot of places you do an interview and they go, okay, we need 3 references, and sometimes people have a hard time finding those 3. So people can be tempted to have people they know, friends, relatives, be a reference and lie about the fact that they work there. The reality is this is something that is also highly discoverable. A good recruiter will go, okay, well, let me look at this person's LinkedIn profile. And they'll go, okay, well, how come they didn't work at the same place at the same period of time? And you don't want that to happen because then they can rescind the offer. It can lead to a lack of trust. It can lead to them going, I'm not sure what is up with this candidate. We shouldn't move forward. It's just too risky. You never want to do that. It can only lead to bad things. The next thing that you should never lie about in an interview are your hard skills. So this is like you have experience coding using C++, or you've used a CNC machine before, or you've experienced doing blank, whatever it is. And the reason you don't want to lie about this in an interview is because if they hire you and then they rely on you to do these things, it is probably the quickest way to get fired besides walking in on your first day and like punching the CEO in the face, right? If you start a job and you said in the interview that you were competent doing something and they find out that you do not have that experience, you are not skilled in that area, and you're not going to be able to contribute in this way that you said you would be able to, that is a very quick way for them to immediately go, we've made a mistake, we're still in the probationary period, let's move on from this person so we can identify someone who isn't a liar, but also can do this job. That is something that happens to people. People lie about things because they see a must-have in the job description. They go into the interview and they say, yes, I have experience doing this. I rate myself a 10 out of 10 in this skill. And then they find out that was a lie, that was a fabrication, it is not the truth, and then they end up firing that person. And you just don't want to do that. That can really disrupt your career. Imagine leaving a job, starting a new job, only to be fired a week into it. That is a terrible thing to do to yourself. You will be stressed, it'll be terrible, you don't want that. Now, earlier in this video, I talked about a backdoor reference. And if you don't know what a backdoor reference is in recruiting, you absolutely should. That's a real thing that happens, and it can be really hard to overcome that kind of challenge. So I made this video here in which I explain exactly what it is and what you can do about it. So I'm done here, but I will see you over there.